Well, this is one of the big issues at the moment. Is everyone's debating the death of the office and whether we'll ever really even turn up again. But really, this isn't quite the way to be looking at it. I think like every argument, there's nuance to it, and it will be somewhere in the middle. I think when people use offices in the future, they're going to use them better. But I think right now, people are missing collaborating with their teams. And while it's nice to meet virtually like this and to engage, there's also nothing like being in a room with friends or colleagues or even competitors to discuss the market and how to do deals and how to do business. So it's just, I think the way we're looking at the future of offices is going to be very different, but it was nothing that hadn't already occurred to people working within the sector. We knew change was coming to the way people used offices, and this last 9 months will be the push to get people using offices a different way, I think.
Oh, so you mean like this is only accelerating something you guys have already foreseen and prepared for? Is that what you're saying?
Totally. So the way that people have used offices for the last 100 years in Paris or in London or New York has been the same. You buy a lease, and you usually buy a lease for 5 to 10 years, if not longer. And the reality is that the way 12 months, 2 years, maybe tops before you have to reinvent your business plan. So how you could predict your headcount and say, well, we know exactly how big we'll be and we'll need this space in this location is almost impossible. So businesses and the office were misaligned, and the way that we were using offices was inefficient. It also didn't provide a very good experience because people couldn't invest, therefore, in their office experience as much as they should. So between that structural change, where we are now in lockdown, and then people using technology more, it's really proved that we can use offices differently. And if we want to use the office properly in the future, we have to have a real purpose for wanting to go there. I mean, you said before the course started, why would you go to Paris again? You go there because of the amazing restaurants, the people, the collaboration, the ideas you get there. When none of those things are there, you don't want to use the office. But when you go back, you will want to see those people and speak to investors or whatever it may be. So it's having purpose behind your use of space, but then finding a provider who can do that in an economically satisfactory way that shows value to your business. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I'm totally agree about this, because most people I've been interviewing in this podcast, have had the kind of the same experience with the lockdown and remote work, is that they kind of like it, but they kind of miss the old way as well. And so the way I feel like it's going to go is just like having a sort of blended approach, where you still have that physical contact, that contact with your colleagues and with the team, but it's just going to be on a different level with a different purpose. And basically, when you can do something at home, well, do it at home. But there are some things you cannot just do at home alone, and those things will stay at the office, I think. I mean, that's kind of the insights I got from everyone. Do you agree on this?
100%. But then more to the point, where it's not just my view. I've because research sits within my department, I've spent a lot of time speaking to heads of real estate for really big businesses, but also smaller businesses, and they all agree that I think people want to go back to the office, but maybe do so on their terms. So what I mean by that is the dynamic has always been, you sign a contract with a company and they say, right, come to work 5 days a week, and we want to see you in La Défense, and you'll work from there, and that's where our office is. The dynamic has changed, whereby I think post-lockdown it'll be, please, would you come back to La Défense 3 or 4 days a week, if that works for you. If not, we're going to maybe try and provide some other space, or is your home working good for you? And we'll make sure that when you come to the office, you can meet the right people at the right time. Again, in a lot of progressive businesses, those discussions were already happening pre-lockdown, because remote, Zoom and remote working allows that to occur. But this is the push, this is the nudge to say, well, actually, this is just a better way of doing things. You want to work near Lyon, maybe for a long weekend and do it from Friday to Monday, but you still need to go to Paris to speak to investors or clients. So you'll have space that matches both those requirements. And if you can buy workspace more easily, which you can now through digital platforms, and do so on a short term, then that enables that change for businesses of all sizes. It becomes a much easier process, which it never has been previously.